Hey everybody, we are actually in the eye wall of a slightly stronger Ada. It is unbelievable whipping here.
This old job is always causing stress.
I'm tucking the truck here perfectly.
All I ever do is work. I don't get no rest.
Man, I got some video
First
footage.
night is on the way.
Crazy. Let me see if I can get outside. Let
Down
me see if I
in
can.
trouble walk.
You just wouldn't believe how much rock in the truck is. Oh shit.
Oh, red truck donkey IPA. Let that magic mango chase my blues away.
We're in the eye of Ada here in Key Largo.
Among my friends.
Tremendous
I
weather
swear the page goes live.
coming in. Currently. I'm semi-protected here by my truck, so no worries, but semi-protected. I don't want to get the camera wet, but man, the trees beside me are completely sideways. I'm not sure what the gusts are, but definitely this is the tropical storm. I think we're seeing a little higher gusts. I got the back turned right now and trying to keep the camera from getting wet. We're in Key Largo. We're in the eye of Ada.
So everybody dancing? Oh, how's everybody doing? It's Thursday here. Thursday night IPA. We got a cardinal out by the window. You hear the cardinal chirpy? Haven't heard a cardinal in a long time. So yeah, little birds for you in the morning. Hey, like that. The bird is the word. My dad used to say that. I don't know what that means. Bird's a word. All right. Well, we got a little weather to talk about. We talk about the weather. Let's say hello. We're going to be rambling on here about everything in the weather world. Hunter was the chosen dog today. I think we had Louie on yesterday. Good morning, Miss Shelley Ross. Over on the East Coast, birds are chirping. It's a lovely day. You know, when we moved here about 14 years ago, we brought 2 potted plants with us. Those green leaf ones, they're kind of like a vine. I don't know what they're called. I put one pot on one side of the house and one pot on the other side of the house, and over the years they've overtaken everything, and I love them. The leaves now are about that big. We actually look like we're in the jungle. We got one growing here. I'm looking at it right now, so I don't know. I've always kind of liked the jungle look here. I don't know about y'all, but I like a little bit of vine growth. It was a sad day for the Rays. I'm doing okay. They did not perform very well at all. I think they started out too fast. The fans didn't show. I don't know. I think we peaked too soon. Anyway. So, let's say hello. This is our Daily Brew. I'm coming to you live from the Oldsmar area, which is around Tampa Bay. Our Daily Brew is brought to you by great friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. They're located here in Florida. Hopefully, you're ready for the weekend. You'll be able to visit them and get some goodies. Whatever you got going on this weekend. Got some stuff to talk about. For sure, I got my little tabs lined up, and then we'll get into a little bit more detail here in a minute. I am a native of Florida. Yes, Shelly. Yes, yes, yes. I am. OMG, it's Wicks. That does weather. He's awesome. I'm a Florida man. Eric Norfolk, good morning. Mr. Conehead, sunny Spring Hill. I drove through your neck of the woods many times this year. Had a good buddy, Bill Spicer, live up there and went to his house at lunch. Birds of Words, a song from the 60s. Well, I wasn't born yet, Jennifer. Showing my age. Good morning, Ryan from Naples. Who's ready for the cold air? Tom Hill. You do not get cold air, Tom Hill. Good morning, Brian from Sunrise Fire Rescue. How's the fire department doing today? Morning, James. Got a little softball this weekend. Miguel, yep, today is attic day for me. I'm climbing in the attic and I'm pulling out Halloween. 4 of my worst favorite days of the year. One is pulling out Halloween in the attic and putting it back in the attic. And by far the worst day of the year for me is pulling out Christmas. Because it's got to be about 50 trips into the attic and back. It's like, oh my God, am I going to make it? And it's so hot in the attic. I hate attic air. John Lamb, yeah, hurricane season might be quiet. I don't know. Did everybody's phones go off yesterday? How was that for you? 2:20 Eastern. Mine went off first, 2:18 with Spanish message, and then followed by with an English message. Wake up. All right, that's Hunter, by the way. A couple things to show you, then we're going to get right into the weather. Okay, buddy? What are you doing? Say hi, everybody. Hi. Yeah, so everybody's phones went off, huh? What's up, Susan? I got to do some eye drops again. This has become a daily tradition for me. I got one eye that's a little dry this morning, but it's doing okay. All right, Seminole, what's up, Michael Mitz? Tom, woof woof. Good morning, Kenny from New York. Hey, man, got a little rain. You got some rain coming up that way, New York. Believe it or not, you got some heavy rain. Funnel line rain coming up tomorrow for you. Friday, Saturday. Saturday probably more than Sunday, but Bones is coming out here in about an hour. William Strunk. That is my goal of the day. All right, so 2 things. One is, I thought this was cute. I wanted to show that off. That was, the girls bought that at Publix. So, happy Halloween. We're getting the house decorated. And I also want to show this off. I had a nice week at Talladega, but I did meet a whole bunch of sheriffs and police officers from Panama City Beach, and they gave me a nice coin. So I always like to show these off. I got so many challenge coins over the years. So thank you to the Panama City Beach Police Department. It was fun hanging out with you, sharing a few stories, watching some crazy shenanigans across from your pit spot. I heard Hardy partied with you across there. I'm jealous. I should have been there, but thanks for the moonshine. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Weather. All right, so here's everything I got opened up. This is our new tradition. I love it. This is kind of what's going on. I do need another. Shelly, I need another one. You got to see this thing. It's huge. Let me take a picture of it and show you. I've upgraded twice. I think my first challenge coin was Katie Haley, right? And Greg, was that correct? I didn't even know what they really were. Let me see if I can kind of show this here. It's really awesome display here. I don't really know. It doesn't really show the depth of it. Well, I missed half of them. Well, anyway, you get the idea. There's Julie and the kids, but there's a whole bunch of them right there too. So, and I missed a whole row of them. But yeah, been pretty cool. All right, what's up, Mr. Eric? Man, what about the Rays, buddy? Are you doing okay? I'm worried. Worried about all us Rays fans out there. All right, so here we go. Let's talk weather. Here's radar. We got a frontal line. First big cold front of the season. This is live radar. Welcoming rains for Texas. Welcoming rains for Louisiana. Right along that Mississippi. I'm going to talk a little bit about that salt wedge. I got that I shared a little bit this morning. Hopefully, this a little bit of rain will do something, but probably not going to be a lot. But there you go. We do have drought conditions in Texas and Louisiana. So there you go. It's raining. Rain! Eastern Texas. You loving that. Rain in Louisiana. That's live. This is a cold front. This is going to be bringing some cool, cold attic air soon. Here's the tropics. All right. So we do have a couple things out there. One, I didn't even open the dang window. I guess I should have. This little guy right here. I feel bad I didn't talk about it. All right, so we'll talk about it. This is that. Okay. Anyway, kind of rare wave coming off Africa in October, but it probably likely will curve like every other one. So we're not worried about this one right now. It's 30%. Nothing to get worked up about. Here is the latest, though. Man, Felipe finally pulling north, starting to accelerate northward, and it will bring tropical storm conditions to Bermuda tonight and tomorrow. And then it's going to possibly make landfall in Maine. Can you believe that? 60 mile an hour, maybe a little stronger. I was reading the NHC discussion, and they're talking about it being maybe a little stronger than 60 mile an hour. So whatever you got in Lee, you might have more with Felipe, believe it or not. Here's a closer look. I usually don't do the center line, but I thought it would be interesting to at least show the center line right now, just to show you that they are officially now showing possible landfall in Maine. So that's kind of big news up there, right? It's going to be a little bit stronger storms and rains than it was with Lee. Timing is going to be on approach here over the weekend. This is Saturday afternoon. Look like most of the winds are going to get there Saturday evening. Wind gusts 60 knots, 70 mile an hour wind gusts. There you go. Still going to be 50 mile an hour winds over land. So there you go. So what it does from here to here, we'll see. But I thought that was interesting. It's almost like Lee 2.0. Here's Lee, but by the way, this was the final track of Lee. And Lee curved to the east, kind of clipping Nova Scotia, going right up into the bay there. That was Lee just a couple weeks ago. This system is actually going to curve west. But hey, what's up with Maine getting all the storms? Why is Canada getting more storms than let's say, Texas? So, yeah, I'm not chasing that one, Shelly. No. But we do have big storms coming to Florida next week. We're going to talk about that. Bill had 7 showers in Titusville yesterday. Phil, we had hope. Ray, Phil says Phil Racing. What kind of racing do you do, Phil? Yeah, well, I believe the Rays peaked too early. Too many home runs. All you got to do is swing or throw crappy pitches to swingers that swing too much, and that's what they did. Very few fastballs. They swing at everything. Aggressive hitters swing at anything. I tell Emily the same thing. When you get a girl down the count and she's swinging at junk, keep throwing junk, because you know what? She's a swinger. And plus we had a lot of injuries, and that isn't good. I do, Amanda, drink my coffee black. We'll talk about that more. Just remind me. I want to keep the weather going. Totally black. I love it. So here's a radar right now. So we got a lot of people in Bermuda watching. So this is a very interesting storm. Lee is very lopsided. I just put the Tropical Tidbits recon information on here if you want to follow along. It is right here. So this is on Tropical Tidbits. There's our center. All the winds are to the east, and that means Bermuda's going to get the big winds tonight. Not a very, very healthy looking system at all. But the hurricane hunters are out there, and they are going to be tracking this thing. So let's talk about that. So here we have this current radar. I have a link back to my site. On the very top up here, I have a nice link here to Bermuda radar. And we have a frontal line that you can see currently. Let's go to the current satellite here. This is fine. This kind of tells you what's going on. But there's our old frontal line. So the rains that we're seeing now is actually budging the frontal line. So the rain now is basically a frontal line rains. The bigger stuff comes tonight. So that is going to look like this. Let me show you what it's going to look like. So pretty significant rain bands expected tonight. Here's 6 p.m. But look what happens. According to the Euro, man, this thing slides by overnight. This is 5, 6 in the morning. We could have some pretty intense rains and storms. This is pretty aggressive by the Euro. So this is tomorrow morning, 7, 8, 9 in the morning as our low pressure slides by. So that's going to be incoming, heavily weighted on the east side, so that you're going to get tropical storm force winds for sure. So pretty big gusts out there for Bermuda in the morning. 40, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts likely as it slides by. So that's that. Nothing to worry about. I know you all are pretty good about these storms. So as we get closer to the weekend, though, let's take a look at what's going on for Maine. So it looks like the brunt of the winds again are going to be off to the east side. We're going to have heavy winds approaching the coast. The difference with this system is we got kind of two setups going on. We have a frontal line and then our system. So it's kind of a weird deal, like, because we're going to have winds coming in from that front. So I don't know coastal wise if it's going to be as bad as it was with Lee. We'll see what the NHC says, but there will be winds coming in off of the west, which doesn't mean it's going to drive into coastal areas as much. However, with Maine, it's different. Depending on the track, if this thing decides to make landfall, then obviously we're going to see big winds still approaching eastern parts. Big winds for Nova Scotia, regardless, as the east side, has the big winds. So that's kind of what we're watching. It's almost a repeat setup that we just saw with Lee, but with a little bit more track to the west, you're going to have more winds in Maine. So if you lost power with Lee, you probably might lose power again, depending on if it was old, trees down or what. So the good news is you just had a storm. So some of the older trees and shrubs and branches that broke, it's survival of the fittest, right? So might not be as bad this time around, but we're going to have more winds this time around. So definitely a lot of waves, a lot of coastal action guaranteed as this thing comes in on Saturday towards Sunday. So we'll see what kind of stuff. Some of this is going to get into the Bay of Fundy again. It's St. John. I know we got people watching there. St. Stephen. This is Sunday morning, early. So we can have a lot of wind. Halifax again. I mean, these are, significant winds coming in off the Atlantic. So deja vu all over again. Here are your latest tropical tidbits models. These are your 10-meter winds, basically just showing you where the centers are going. But most of the heaviest winds off to the east side. Canadian, pretty aggressive. Canadian's the most aggressive because it's going to Canada, eh? Canadian's showing some pretty heavy winds here in Nova Scotia. But this thing kicks to the west. These winds now will be reaching the eastern parts of Maine. So, they got a tropical system hitting Maine. They get love too, but for sure Nova Scotia getting the heavy stuff. All right, what else we got? This is the blob we're going to talk a lot about. This is next Thursday. We got Pacific crossover juice coming down, and it's going to be fueled in the Gulf. Some of these had development, so we're not saying no. Development chances next week we're going to get into, or the following week. There's going to be a lot of juice hanging around down the Central America Pacific side, old fronts, all kinds of tropical waves. So this whole general area is going to be areas to watch, as always in October. But this is I'm on my radar for next week. Big storms possibly for the southeast and the Florida later Thursday, Friday. So we're gonna talk about that here in a second. Tropical development. This is the most signal that the European has done yet on the ensembles. This is for next Monday, a week from Monday, 15th, 16th. We'll see. We'll see. October is definitely the time we watch the Caribbean. Not so much the BOC, but there's a lot of support for something getting going right here. Again, this is the tropical storm map. I generally show the tropical depression map as a general area where to watch, but once we start getting tropical storm colors, I mean, this is 25%. So it's increasing a little bit. All right, and then the last two things, then we'll get into more specifics. Cold front. Here are your Sunday night cold front temperatures. 40s in the Panhandle. This is a blend of models. This is the National Weather Service. 40s in the Panhandle. 50s in Perry. Low 50s. 49 in Gainesville and Ocala. Could be in the 50s in the outer parts of Hillsborough County. Same with Orlando. Same with Daytona. So this is your low temps. Low 60s. South Florida, I don't know. Do you consider 72 cold? But 60s for Naples and 60s for Fort Myers. Saturday's a little bit warmer, just a little bit. But the big thing, everybody always wants to know about high temperatures. But look at this. Here's your high temperatures for Sunday. So the cold front comes through Saturday night late. So we're going to have dropping temperatures throughout the day on Sunday. But look, across Interstate 4, man, we got 80, 79. It might not even get past 80 degrees for a big part of the central part of the state. So high temperature 81 in Tampa, 79 for Clearwater. This is on Sunday. I can't remember the last time we had a high temperature not outside the 80s. This is going. You're going to be cold. I'm telling you. If you're a Floridian like me, we're going to be looking for that sunshine Sunday morning. We got softball this weekend at Eddie Seymour. We're going to be looking for that sunshine. We're going to be like, where is the sun? It's 60 degrees out. We need the sun. Sunday, though, look at that, 90 down in Miami. So if you don't want the 70s and you don't want the, look at this, low 70. Maybe not even getting out of 70 here for parts of the Panhandle on Sunday. That's the weekend. 87 down in the Keys, 90 down in Miami. So if you want to get away from this, got to go south. All right. Saltwater wedge time. We'll talk about this real quick, and then we're going to get into some other stuff. Not a lot of rain with this, by the way. This is a very dry front. If you look at the next several days of rain here, you're going to see that it's not a lot of rain with this front. Let's look at the weekend rains. Let's look at the next 3 days since we kind of have that going on here, day 3. This is through Sunday, but you can tell, I mean, look, this is rainfall through Sunday morning, almost no rain. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, very, 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 very little rain. Mississippi, very little rain in Florida. So it's kind of weird to have a cold front with no rain, but we're not going to have rain. It's a dry front. So it doesn't mess up the weekend at least, right? Right. All right. We're going to talk about the saltwater wedge, and then we're going to talk about tropics, and then we're going to talk about our golf blob coming to Florida next week. Nancy Power. So my coffee story real quick. I was driving to Atlanta as a kid one time. I've shared this story before. And I was falling asleep, and I'm like, I gotta do something. I had to get coffee. I'm like, I gotta start drinking coffee. So I went to this gas station. I think it was an Exxon, and I remember, gas station coffee back then was like burnt syrup, right? So I poured me a cup and a little white. I still remember this day. I don't know why I remember this day, but a little white styrofoam cup. And I told myself, I am going to learn to drink it black. And to this day, I drink black coffee. I love it. I hate cream and sugar. So, told myself, I'm going to learn how to do it. Yes, the cruise, Shelly. The cruise. The plane. All right, so this is something very fascinating to me. I was in Talladega and met a very nice family that lives in New Orleans, fishermen. And they were talking about the saltwater wedge. And I've seen a few posts over the last week or two. My buddy Jesse up in Louisiana, I was wondering what he was talking about. Are you worried about the wedge? And I'm like, what is he talking about? Well, I did a little homework finally, and this is it. So, very fascinating to me. I put a link out earlier today. But because the Mississippi River is low water and the flow is slow, the saltwater is winning the battle. The saltwater is trying to push up into the river. And it happened before. They built a dam underneath. Saltwater sinks, so they built this dam. Well, it crossed that dam. So there's real concerns that this could affect New Orleans' water supply. Real concerns. So, I think they have a state of emergency right now preparing for this. But by the end of October, it's expected that salt water will be up into the Mississippi because they're not expecting a lot of rain, unfortunately, to get the Mississippi flowing, to push back the salt. So they did have the sill over top September 20th. That was a makeshift dam underwater that was trying to stop or at least slow the salt water down. But now it's making its way up the river. And this is currently where it's at. It's made its way up 69 miles. And that's what they're worried about. So, there's a whole thing on here on facts. States. I put the link on this. So it's a big deal. So, maybe a little, if you didn't know about it, now you know. But a lot of the water supply, a lot of the drinking water, a lot of the industries, a lot of restaurants, all obviously are water driven and use the water from the Mississippi. So it could impact a lot. So this little tidbit, I wanted to bring awareness to it because I didn't know much about it. And I'm sure anybody from Louisiana can tell you it's a really big deal. So that is what I want to bring up. All right. So let's talk about tropics. Tropics. So we do have an area. So this is the map that I go to first every day. This is a global tropics hazards map, basically showing you this whole Central American gyre low pressure area, both weeks, October 11th through the 17th here, and then a little more higher chances the following week. Experimental, not always right. It's actually wrong a lot, but pretty good confidence these two areas for 2 weeks are going to be watched. So that's, tropics aren't over, what I'm getting at. For sure. Let's look at some individual model runs. So first thing I always look at, I love this blend of color, which kind of brings out areas to watch. And you can see generally that higher, this is middle next week. We have energy. I'm going to show you it's crossing over from the Pacific. That's going to try to get into the BOC. And a little bit of tropical storm coverage next week. This is Wednesday. Some of the models are having it shoot off to the northeast. Very low confidence of that right now. But it's there. A lot of shear and not a lot of time. But also what happens is we get another area getting more support now into more middle month. And it's definitely, tropical storm percentages are up. So, and it was up yesterday too, 12Z. So this is a growing area, secondary area to watch. So the first area to watch next week is this. Let me show you. Let's go to tropical tidbits. This has been what we've been talking a lot about, and I'll show you the latest with the models on that. So what we're seeing from all the models is an area of low pressure here develop in the Pacific middle next week. Some of this gets pulled up. We have an old the frontal line that's coming through Florida is going to be lingering, and that's going to pull up, and that is some serious low pressure next Friday coming down. So that's going to be middle next week to watch. The Euro showing the same thing. Crossover energy middle next week right here. Big old thing of low pressure, and kind of gets fueled by this upper level, mid-level low coming down. So, the good news is we're not seeing development, but we're seeing very low pressures indicating the chances of storms. We're going to have wind shear, kind of a preview maybe what's to come with the winter with El Nino. Canadian model showing the same thing. Big old massive low pressure in the Gulf next week. kind of slides a little more toward the north, and the icon kind of doing the same thing next week. So, that's that. But what it's going to look like is this, and I got some more models, but let's keep it on tropical tidbits for now. This is what it's going to look like next week. So our moisture gets pulled up, and as we enter later in the week, Wednesday and Thursday, look at that. Now, it doesn't really look stormy right there, but the potential for storms is going to be there. This is next Thursday. Only a week from now. So that'll be the first area we watch. That secondary area that is showing up on the models is not this area. It's a lingering area that's left behind here. And you can start to see it pop up on the 10-day. So this area here is tomorrow, next week, and all the models are showing it. Canadian's a little more to the north, pulls it up more to North Florida, southeast states. There's our big, strong frontal line Thursday. So, that's significant storms possible in the next week. Icon showing the same thing. There's our blob of moisture getting ready to pop on over the other side, and then it pulls it up. This is Thursday morning. So it's going to be a lot of Gulf junk out there. As far as development goes next week, I don't know. But we do have some ensembles saying possible. So let's go to Weather Nerds, just to keep it real. They take into account all the same things as far as environmental conditions. So any time that you see the model sniffing, you got to keep watching. And here's next week. So things start to pop through the other side next week. This is the 10th. This is 5 days from now. So what is that, like Monday, Tuesday? Tuesday. So there's our low pressures popping over and over to the BOC. And then, a few of them try to get going. Not a lot of them, but enough to keep out, keep watching. They're low they're not very low millibar, so that's been the common theme too. This is my daily cough. But general area to watch next week. And then 10 days, that secondary area that's going to be popping up. And that secondary area is this right here. That's already dark red. So dark red is in the 40% range. So we don't get that very often. So that secondary low that's showing up after things kind of linger could be. So we got a couple things to watch. And I don't have to remind you, Gulf is extremely hot, way above normal. It's as hot as some of the hottest temperatures still of the season in the BOC. Water anomaly map showing you that water temperatures are still way above normal compared to a 30-year average. Very hot down there. So, good thing is it's going to have some wind shear. The second system might have a little less wind shear to deal with, but that's 4 degrees above normal. 3.7, 4 degrees, 4.1, all this. Even the middle Gulf, still 2 to 3 degrees above normal. So it's still hot. Even though we're going to have that cool front, we still have really warm water. And warm water definitely helps fuel tropical systems. And if anything, it fuels convection. And that's exactly what is showing up next week, regardless of any sort of development, is this convection. And you can see this moisture gets pulled up. This is the Euro. Here's Monday. Now this starts to get pulled up from some upper level shear here, and it gets into the Gulf. But look what happens. This is on Tuesday. Bubble, bubble, bubble. This is Wednesday. And then boom, this is Thursday into Friday. And then here's that secondary system setting up. So double whammy. BOGO, BOGO, BOGO. But this has been very consistently showing on maps for Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. So that'll be something to watch. Now this definitely shows the chance for some storms, as our upper level winds are going to be pretty, pretty high, meaning instability. Oh, we got a hailing. So even though it's not organized, 10-meter winds, showing up Thursday, pretty breezy. 30, 40 knots possible. Well, not 40, but upper 30s. So yeah, that is the latest Euro. The KMA model, let's see what it did. I didn't look at it today. Yesterday, it was pretty aggressive on development in the Gulf. I'm sure it backed down a little bit. It was probably an outlier, but yeah, it was. But look at all that wind, man. This is next Friday morning. So it is a big sloppy mess coming in next week. I'm telling you. It's going to be interesting across the South with storms. But tropical development, at least, is looking low for next week. Big winds. Oh, yeah. And whatever this blob is, look at Thursday. This is a GFS showing the blob. A little more winds than the Euro. Kind of going into us here and upper north. So that's consistent. Tropical development still seems low for next week. Models are still saying there's a chance, but there's going to be a lot of wind shear. But there's also going to be a lot of juice pulling up from the Pacific. And that is going to fuel storms. Here is next week. Some of that wind shear coming in from the north. It isn't the worst, actually. It's not that bad. Huh. There's a frontal. This is the frontal line. It's not that bad, really, honestly. 9:57 Thursday. Wind shear does not look that bad for a little something to try to get popping. I thought we were going to see a lot more wind shear. The wind shear is to the north. The secondary blob is coming in out of the BOC. So keep an eye on that. I hate trying to predict wind shear next week. I mean, it's still strong to the north, but that's what's pulling it and pushing it. The wind shear down here is pulling and pushing. Pulling and pushing. Next week. All right. So there's that. Cool. All right. Woo! Yeah, no alarms herald for nap day today. I don't know about you. I was sitting there waiting for that thing to go off. I was like, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. The anticipation was like driving me bonkers. I'm sitting there like, when's it going to go? When's it going to go off? When's it going to go off? Reminded me of the high wind warnings when you're in the middle of a hurricane. Warning, warning. Warning, warning, warning. Correct, Weather Center. Yep, we do definitely have shear over the Gulf right now, currently. So, all right. So we got that. We got big frontal line coming in. Here's kind of a cool look at the current jet stream. Kind of showing you the kind of a preview for El Nino. Usually during oh man, that's a big old one. Usually El Nino, you get a big primary jet to the north and then a secondary jet, Pacific jet stream, and that's what fuels the storms for winter, is this secondary jet stream. So during El Nino, you get a secondary jet stream that pumps in out of the Pacific. Historically, strong El Nino years, we have a lot of bad storms in the southeast, especially Florida, and high flooding events too. Those are typical for El Nino years in Florida. So we're kind of seeing that this weekend a little bit with this junk coming out of the Pacific crossing over into Florida. So that'll be interesting to watch for sure. Since we're talking about rain, weekends coming up, we have this frontal line today. Here you go. It's going to start to dry up as we have this high pressure in place. So this rain is going to combine with Felipe rains here already showing up. So we got a lot of flooding possible for the Northeast, unfortunately, again. They've been getting all kinds of rain this season. Vermont, New Hampshire, they're going to get several inches again. Here's your 5-day rains through Monday of next week, and look, almost nothing in the Southeast. A little bit down in South Florida, normal pop-up thunderstorms, but very little rain. So the weekend looks good. We got stuff going on. A lot of fall fests. Here's your flood map for Saturday. Yesterday's 4-day showed it, but now it's not. So good news. Maybe it won't be bad Sunday, but that's Saturday into Sunday. So it's a lot of it's overnight. How about the whole state of Maine is under yellow? The whole state. Pretty much Vermont and New Hampshire too. Big part of New York. So that's your flood map from this weekend's rains. Let's see what other cool stuff we can look at. So we talked about the temperatures, I think. Yeah, drought map. A lot of people are always interested in this. So that rain in Texas is very welcoming right now. In Louisiana, it's pretty hard to imagine that Louisiana is so dry. Tremendously dry. Like D4, exceptionally dry. Parts of Mississippi too. So very odd to have coastal regions like that. And that's part of the problem with the Mississippi right now. There's no rain anywhere. So the Mississippi's running dry a little bit and slow in the flow. But at least they're getting some rains this morning. Right here. And got some severe weather alerts too for Texas right now in the yellow. So strong storms nearing eastern along the Gulf of Mexico there. A big strong line of storms. Could be some stronger ones here in Louisiana a little bit too. So there's your convection map kind of showing you the bubble. So anyway, what else is cooking? All right, so Shelly mentioned the cruise. I shared it. Hopefully we got some new bookers. The cruise is coming. We're within 5 months now, a little more than 5 months. Exceptional value. The rates are way lower than Royal Caribbean right now. We locked in special rates. We got a few cabins left. We're trying to keep it at 50 cabins. So if you're a cruiser, check it out. We'd love to have you. Family's 100% welcome. A lot of kids. Big kids, too, like dads that like to drink. Awesome meet and greet. So the funnest thing on the cruise, the first night we do a happy hour, cocktail hour. All the drinks are included. They walk around serving, and we meet and greet and hand out swag bags. And we're going to do some raffles this year. The first night we're going to have a microphone, just kind of talk, maybe just very loose. We do a hurricane seminar on the ship where they actually let me do a presentation on TVs. So we'll have that, and we'll be handing out certificates, doing a big Q&A after. Basically, it's a very intimate session to talk about hurricanes, get everybody prepared for 2024, and hopefully learn some good information from that. And then we have some fun stuff, too. We do a group photo and some other fun stuff for the week. So that there's that. Hopefully you can get in on it. Check it out. Christmas is coming. Be a great Christmas present. Last year, Tammy gave one away in a raffle for Christmas party. It's a great Christmas raffle party gift. It is educational, Janice. Yes. 4 new quotes yesterday. Awesome, Shelly. Cool beans, man. BOC is Bay of Campeche. Peche. Bay of Camp AJ. Hey AJ, very little smoke. Great question. Thank you. I don't think so. I think it backed up and went a little more north. We're back to green. Gone. Dust in the wind. A little bit of yellow across Upper Gulf. Luckily the front's coming. That'll get rid of that. We don't really have any orange show. We got a few spots in orange across northern Mississippi. That's leftover smoke. Kind of what it did was it kind of curled back this way. All this stuff. So there's a little bit here, but nothing like it was. People don't understand how it happened. It's very, 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 very fascinating to follow the track of the smoke from Canada. And I get it. I saw a lot of conspiracy theories online. I don't even get involved because I'm not a real scientist. But there it is. These are all wildfires. And our fronts pick it up and it carries it just like the African dust comes across the Atlantic. It brings it up to middle parts of the atmosphere. And then what happens is once that front passes through, we are left with a lot of dry air in place, almost sinking air. Remember, low pressure, rising air creates thunderstorms. Low pressure or high pressure, your yellows and oranges that I show actually is sinking air. So it kind of brings that stuff back down a little bit and came down to the surface. I mean, you can almost smell it. So, yeah, it comes down and falls and hangs, and I don't know where it goes. Where does all the smoke go? I don't know where it goes. Just know where it's been. I don't know where it goes. Maple syrup flavored smoke inhalation. Oh, that sounds terrible. Tom, it is a blast. This is a great time. Check it out. Anyway, what else can we talk about? It's 10:07. So got a great email yesterday. Our friends at Furman are actively working with our Daytona car. You know how cool it was to be at Talladega and see a bunch of Furmans? Last year, I didn't really see that many. I saw a whole bunch this time. Helped the guy get his out of his truck. He just bought it at Lowe's. He needed, hey, man, you got a hand? I'm like, this is a Furman. I got so excited. It was big. I saw a guy running one on propane. But anyway, it's all good. Remember, you get 30% off, too, by the way, by following this link right here. Be part of the Furman family. 30%. Or go to Lowe's. Or Costco. Or Badcock. Great company. Oh, poor. Right. So that's about it for me. And we're going to read comments for a little bit and see what everybody's talking about. Thank you, Miss Lisa Reed. We got a solar eclipse coming. I think a lunar eclipse. Isn't that this weekend, I believe? I don't know. There's something going on above. Not really sure. Yeah, that Mike Solar. Everybody was up in that. Everybody was really worked up about the alert. I don't know. I just used to that. Yeah, Harold, I remember you were the first to talk about the smoke, buddy. Enough to make me add all these cool links. We didn't really track wildfires. Every year we learn more and more, you know. This year I've learned a lot. We just learned about the saltwater wedge. We've learned about high tide, low tide cycles, full moons when it comes to storm surge. Fascinating stuff. We've had systems develop in between other systems, creating high pressures that control steering. We haven't seen that very often. Now we're seeing Pacific juice pulling up and going to bring action to me. Might get a chance to fly the drone, actually. About the drone, I haven't really used the thing. All right. Anything else we missed? Just so you know, the hurricane season is not over. We are here somewhere, about right there. So we are on the downhill slide of the roller coaster. But I don't have to remind you that we've had a lot of storms late season. Not that I'm trying to hype or anything. Just Just telling you like it is. But every day that goes by is another day closer to nothing, which is good. Let's look here at our map for October and November. How about that? November. Let's do distance. I don't know why I put my zip code in there, but let's just put 1,000 miles. Okay. For some reason, my zip code is not working. So let's do CONUS. I don't know why. My contiguous United States. All right, there's that. Get rid of that. Why is no storms being showed? This thing must not be working. There they go. All right. That's a lot of storms. All right, let's see what we got. So this is everything from October and November. I can't even see the south. All right, well, okay, there's somewhere the United States. So, all right, so we can take out. Let's take out tropical storms and depressions and extratropical. Okay, well, there's still a lot. Still a lot. A lot. Well, how do we, let's see, let's do, minimum pressure. How about, well, we could do categories, I guess. We could do the last, let's see, let's do the last 50 years. I've done this before, since I'm 50 now. There's an awesome Kid Rock song. Look it up. I might have to play it on my birthday. All right, here's all the storms in the months of October and November that were hurricanes for the last 50 years. And you see a common theme here. Tropical waves or systems developing here. Very few develop in the BOC. We had one called Jerry, 1989. Actually ended up being a hurricane, it looks like. Yeah, it was well. So we did have Jerry, 1989. October 12th through the October 16th came out of the BOC. Very rare Texas hurricane, and that year. Okay, they added Ian. I don't think we have. Yeah, we have Ian finally. It wasn't up there. There's Wilma. Obviously, everybody knows Wilma. Wilma was in 2005, and it pretty much was a wave. Hit the Yucatan, did a 90-degree turn into Florida. 2005, we had Matthew. Matthew was a close call for Florida. Here it is. Matthew. Trying to find it. There we go. So Matthew skirted Florida and ended up hitting the East Coast back in 16. Weakened a little bit as it went north, but still was an H1, H2. So that was, October 10th. So it started late September, way down here. It was October 7th, right off the coast of Miami. Almost a year ago today. Or a year ago. Not a year ago. Several years ago to the day. October 7th. So, yeah, it's happened. Doesn't happen often, but it happens. Anyway, Crystal, we did have a big storm last year. It was Nicole. Nicole was a big wind maker for the East Coast. A lot of flooding, inland flooding from Nicole. The yellow blob, Heather, let's talk about the yellow blob. It's at 30%. Most models aren't doing much. Tropical tidbits. Here, let's take a look. Not going to do much, it doesn't look like. I'm not really sure where it is on this map, but if it's this little guy, it's going to curve. Most everything this time of year curves. GFS curves it. Doesn't do anything with it. Way east of Bermuda. Canadian right here, it curves it too. So we might get a name out of it. We're going through those names pretty quick. So it doesn't look like it's going to bother anybody. It's been pretty consistent on a recurve right here. I hope they don't invest it. I have to update the website. So, there's been a lot of storms this year. Here's the map. Let's see if they've updated this map. Preliminary. Katie is the last one they've done. So they gotta update this map. This is 2023. How about the winter maps here? Huh? Frost freeze 2 days from now. Big part of middle U.S. Frost and freeze. Heavy rain from Frontal Line and Felipe, unfortunately, for the Northeast here coming Friday and Saturday. Or Saturday, Sunday, it is. Yes, so yeah, LA, Key. Yeah, we had a lot of rain from Nicole. You're right, it was inland. Orlando had a lot of flooding. What's up, Braxton? 29 on Saturday? Let's check out Gatlinburg, man. It's too soon to plan a trip to Gatlinburg. My yearly trek to see snow. Man, that chair's squeaking now. So, Gatlinburg is showing a 38. That's not as high up as like Beach. Was it Beach Mountain? Let's see here. Let's see here. Why isn't this working? Huh. Guess our map used to be an interactive map. Now it's not really working. There's a 34. We might hit freezing. Boone, there's Boone. What's it going to be like in Boone? Boone looking at 34 degrees. No moisture, though. God, it could be, though. There's a little moisture. There's a little rain with that approaching front tomorrow. Then it's down to 34 Saturday night. High temperature of only 49 on Sunday. Oof. Yucky. Anyway, Banner Elk. All right, don't say the S word. No snow. Bones is coming out, Lorena, yep. I am so excited. Chris is going to Gatlinburg. All right, man. Good for you. Margaritaville is our #1 spot. We love Margaritaville right there in Gatlinburg. And that's our good times. We love it. We love it. Well, that's a wrap. I don't know what else we can talk about. Remember, I got the key messages for Felipe heading north. We'll see what they're going to start talking about New England here. Possibility strong winds and heavy rain. So we're going to see. Their discussion talked about it getting a little stronger. We'll see what the 11 o'clock advisory says. But the discussion shows 60. But they also talk about the intensity has its own challenges. Barclinicytol. System can undergo a warm seclusion type transition, further deepening even after a storm becomes extratropical. So So, yeah, who knows? Who knows how strong it could be? The latest H Wharf is showing it to develop into 975, pretty low pressure. The HAFS is showing it into 981, pretty low pressure. HAFSB 974, 973. And this is where these winds get tricky, because if it goes a little bit closer to a Maine landfall, then some of these winds are going to hit Maine. So that's very interesting. So I believe people in Maine, some are going to get a lot more winds than they got with Lee if this thing keeps nudging west a little bit. And that we will see. All right. Braxton, correct. Yeah, so El Nino brings down the polar air a little more, and we get more chances for snow, especially, Carolinas, North Georgia. The snow line definitely drops south with the El Nino winters. Johnny Appleseed, that name sounds familiar. How's it going? I think Charlotte for the race Sunday, Tyler. Should be fine. Should be good. There's very little rainfall for Charlotte area this weekend, so nothing organized. This is rainfall through Monday, so that front's coming, but doesn't have a lot of moisture to it. Flooding rains, Chris, for Florida next week. That's a good question. We got that big old blob of, moisture coming. Let's see what their early indications are for next week. Wow. I'm glad you asked that. That's long range, obviously, but that's a lot of rain. That's cumulative rain. It's deceiving. However, rainfall through Wednesday of next week, almost zippo. Now, obviously, this rainfall through the weekend into next Wednesday. It's a lot of days of accumulation of rain here. Very little. South Florida, yes. Afternoon thunderstorms, always. So look what happens once we get into here comes that blob. And then Friday, and then Saturday. So, man, that is a lot of rain. This is an accumulation of blend of models. It's not even one particular model. And most of this rain is going to fall Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week. Wow, that's a lot. I didn't expect to see that. I knew the blob's coming, but keep track of that for sure. So here's rainfall through next Wednesday, very little, right? And then boom, here comes that blob. Boom. So yeah, there's going to be possibility flooding rains, rain training with this incoming Pacific crossover. Even the GFS has shown pretty heavy rain a little farther to the north, but yeah, there's a lot of rain coming. Lots of rain. Lots of rain. Interesting. Sorry, Harold. Oh, I didn't mean to say it. Flooding in Daytona was bad. Yeah, we had a lot of rain and just lingered last week. That front just lingered, especially on the East Coast. Tariq Peters, did I say your name right? You got rain, right, this morning? Welcoming rains, right? Cold air behind. It's going to be windy and breezy. Behind this rain. we're going to be windy here in Florida. I've shared this a lot over this summer. A good friend of mine, we met at the GHC, but had a lot of y'all pick it up since we're talking about flooding rains. You know, if you're always curious about it, alternative to sandbags, they have an awesome homeowner's kit that is fills with water, so you don't have to deal with sandbags. Pretty cheap too, $200 Amazon. So if you're curious about that, since we're talking about flooding rains, again, Christmas is around the corner. Keep it storm related. Wind. So here's the, I mentioned this yesterday. My favorite time of year is this. When you get a frontal line approaching and you get those howling north winds. Here's Saturday night. Now watch what happens Sunday morning. Look at that. So Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, strong winds from the north. I call them Attic winds. They're actually Arctic winds. Blowing in that cold, cool air. And it'll be windy. These are wind gusts. There's your frontal line. So it's going to be so I just growing up, you just remember these moments of frontal line winds, and it's really fascinating to me to feel it because it'll be cold. It'll be blue sky, howling winds from the north, cold front on the way. And hopefully by this weekend, Mr. Bones is up. I don't have to worry about putting him up anymore. So cool. All right. Well, hey, Miss Bobby. All right. So everybody have a great day. We're going to be live again tomorrow for sure. Friday. We'll talk about the tropics. Nothing to worry about. The only thing really on tap is Maine and Bermuda. Bermuda tonight into tomorrow with some pretty big winds and rains. In Bermuda, we got this whole area going up towards Nova Scotia and Maine this weekend. It'll be very interesting for Maine. It's nothing to turn your back on because it could be intensifying a little bit close to hurricane force gusts. So you might need to prepare for power outages up in that neck of the woods. A lot of rain in that area. Could be a lot of flooding in the New England area. We saw that before with this approaching front. Even though our system's going to be coming in, we got another line of storms off to the west here. So as our system approaches on Saturday, we got the frontal line dumping a lot of rain here already. So it's a double whammy for rains. The frontal line first, and then our system. And then for sure, we're looking at a crossover of strong rains and storms looking like next week into the southeast, especially Florida. We'll keep an eye on that. And then the tropics down that neck of the woods is still showing signals that we could have something to watch as we get in the middle part of October. So that's it in a nutshell. That's why if you ever wondered in my TikTok videos, I always wear this hat. It's called Weather in a Nutshell. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.